Good morning, everybody. May the peace of the Lord be with you. Well, happy Thursday and welcome to another assembly, another collective worship. Miss Proctor has been leading collective worship on a Thursday and she's been talking to you about heroes of the Christian faith. And I thought I'd jump on and steal her slot today because there's a Christian hero that I'd like to tell you all about. Okay, so the lady that you can see on the screen now is called Harriet Tubman, and she's my chosen hero, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. So she was a slave. She was born a slave. Now, a slave meant that somebody, another human, owned her, and she had to work for them without getting paid, and well, you'll hear she wasn't treated very well at all. She lived on a plantation in Maryland, which is in America. Now, historians think she was born in around 1820, possibly 1821, but records weren't kept very well for slaves, so we're not 100% sure about that. I'm sure you can imagine that life as a slave was very difficult. When she was younger, Harriet lived in a one-room cabin, with all of her family. There were 11 children, so that's lots and lots of people trying to live in a very tiny space. Now, when she was only 6, she got loaned out to another family to help look after their baby. That's a really big responsibility for a 6-year-old. So children in year 1 and year 2, can you imagine having to look after a baby as your job? I don't think I'd want to be doing that when I was 6. Now, sometimes she was hurt by her owner and she didn't get very good food to eat at all. So she didn't have a good life. She had lots of jobs as she got older. So after she'd grown up a bit and she worked on the plantation, so she ploughed the fields, which would have been really hard work, or she'd put produce, so what was grown in the fields, into big wagons to be taken to market. And she became really strong because she did lots of hard manual work. Now, during the time that Harriet was growing up, the states in North America outlawed slavery. So they said slavery was banned, and slaves would try to escape to the north of the country using something called the Underground Railroad. And this wasn't a railroad, it wasn't a real railroad, but what happened was, along the way, so from the south to the north of America, there'd be lots of safe houses where people could hide, and they were called stations, and they hid slaves, and people that helped the slaves were called conductors. So slaves would sneak from station to station at night, and they'd hide in the woods, or they'd sneak onto trains actually to help them try and get north, and the conductors would help them. So conductors were very brave people. Now, in 1849, Harriet heard God's voice telling her that she should escape. And so she did, and she used the Underground Railroad to do it. And it was a long and scary trip, but she finally became free. Now, after a while of being free, she decided that she should help other people to be free the same way. So she joined the Underground Railroad as a conductor, so as someone who helped people escape. Now, by that time, the slaves had to escape to Canada to be free. So she actually led 19 different escape plots from the south, and that meant that she'd helped about 300 slaves to escape. So loads and loads of people, and actually she became known as Moses because, just like Moses in the Bible, she led her people to freedom. So she led her people to freedom from slavery. So lots of similarities to the story of Moses. And I've got a beautiful book that Miss Boyd has lent me that I'm going to share with you about Harriet's story. The book is called Moses, When Harriet Tubman Led Her People to Freedom, and the illustrations are really beautiful, so I'm going to be sharing those with you. On a summer night, Harriet gazes at the sky and talks with God. I am your child, Lord, yet Master owns me, drives me like a mule. Now he means to sell me south in chains to work cotton, rice, indigo or sugarcane, never to see my family again. God speaks in a Whip-Poor Will's song. I set the North Star in the heavens, and I mean for you to be free. Harriet sees the stars twinkling. My mind is made up. Tomorrow I flee. God wraps her in the blanket of night, and she returns to the cabin, sleeps beside her husband one last time, because she was married by then, you see. Here she is, look, working the land the next day. The next day, Harriet tells not a soul of her plans. She grips the axe to chop wood, breathes deeply, and murmurs, Lord, I'm going to hold steady onto you. And God whispers back in the breeze, I'm going to see you through, child. At dusk, Harriet chants, when that old chariot comes, I'm going to leave you. She hopes her loved ones hear her song and know it means farewell. While the plantation sleeps, Harriet prays, Lord, send me a sign. Owl screeches. The hour has come. Harriet slips into the night. Here she is, look, and it would have been quite a dangerous journey. Running through the swamp, she hears frogs croaking and her own heart pounding. Lord, I can't make it alone. In the moon's reflection on the creek, she sees God's face. Harriet, you dreamed that saints saved you, but mortals will give you refuge. The woman in the wagon, who always spoke kindly to me. Yes, Harriet, I must go to her. The woman points Harriet to a safe haven, hiding places for runaways, and Harriet steals away into darkness. She creeps through the woods, her heart flutters. Hush, hoofbeats. Please, Lord, don't let them catch me and take me back to face Master's whip. Don't let my journey end here. In the underbrush, Harriet sinks into a deep sleep. God cradles her. When she wakes, the men on horseback have passed, and day breaks. Thank you, Lord, for watching over me. In a clearing, the safe haven. Harriet knows that most strangers would turn her in but not help her. But the farmer's wife feeds Harriet, then tells her to sweep the yard. I don't know who to trust, Lord. Search for my face in theirs, and for my hands in their work. What have you in your hands? In a dust clouds, she sees the broom become a staff, then a rifle. Harriet startles, but hold on. I will arm you against your enemies, but you will not harm a soul, and no harm will come to you. The dust settles as she stops sweeping, and all is as it was. So Harriet is really hearing God's voice in all that she does at the moment. At nightfall, Harriet climbs into a wagon, and the farmer covers her with blankets. As the wagon wobbles along, Harriet worries that it's heading to jail. Should I leap, Lord? Trust me to protect you, child. A heart song lulls her to sleep. Swing low, sweet chariot. Some of you might know that. The wagon stops at dawn. Harriet walks till her legs ache, then she leans against a tree. Lord, I miss my folks. Harriet, your father taught you to read the stars, predict the weather, gather wild berries and make cures from roots. Use his lessons to be free. You will meet again. A mosquito buzzes in Harriet's ear. She rises and moves on. A boatman rows her up the river. There he is. Back on shore. Hounds snarl, sniff for Harriet's trail. She races as fast as she can. Lord, I can't outrun them. God speaks through a babbling brook. Shed your shoes. Wade in the water to trick the dogs. Upstream, the barking ceases and fear washes away. Thank you, Lord. Harriet's feet bleed and her gut churns. Under the stars, she draws near to God. Lord, don't let nobody turn me round. I'd rather die than be a slave. Harriet, keep going. You've already glimpsed the future. She recalls dreams where she flew like a bird, sank and was lifted by ladies in white who pulled her north. Fly, Harriet, your faith has wings. Up ahead, she hears words that patrollers are nabbing runaways and crouches for days in a potato hole, dreams she's buried alive. This wasn't an easy journey at all. Have you deserted me, Lord? Harriet, when you were a girl, you hid in a pig pen to shun the whip. You fought hogs for table scraps, almost starved before you faced the lash. I am with you now, as I was then. An old prayer comes back to her. Lord, make me strong. Help me fight. After 7 days, Harriet rises from that hole like a sapling, reaches for the sun as if to touch God's hand. By moonlight she marches on, making her way mile after rugged mile, hiding in haystacks, attics and barns, holding God's hand all the while. She often wearies. How far, Lord? As far as you can walk with me, my child, and I can carry you. When Harriet is about to drop, a couple in a wagon ride by. They say slavery is a sin, and not to take her on the last leg of her journey. Not far now, child, not far now. In the promised land, Philadelphia, the sun shines gold in the trees, and Harriet feels light as a cloud. She studies herself from head to toe, as to see if she had wings. Is this heaven, Lord? Not heaven, Harriet. Free soil. So she's made it to freedom. I wonder how that must have felt for her. But freedom brings new woes. Lord, I'm a stranger here. All my kin are down south. Would you like to see them? As Harriet dusts, her family's faces appear in the wood grain, and she wipes a tear from the table. I would make a home for them here. I would give my own life to free them. Then go back for them, daughter, but first go to my house to prepare for the journey. Harriet goes to church, finds not just holy ground, but a stopping place. A station along the Underground Railroad that slaves travel to freedom. Harriet hands out shirts and shoes, serves butterbeans and biscuits to newly arrived runaways, while agents who plot escape paths pass on secret routes that she learns by heart. Finally, a conductor, a guide. She turns to God. I am ready, Lord. Lead me. Harriet, I will make a way for you. Risking her own life, Harriet returns to the dreaded South and rescues her family. But she dreams of slaves still in the yoke. She hears their groans, sees their tears, tosses and turns in her sleep. Then God opens her eyes. Harriet, be the Moses of your people. But I'm a lowly woman, Lord. Harriet, I have blessed you with a strong body, a clever mind. You heal the sick and see the future. Use your gifts to break the chains. I will do as you say, Lord. I will show others the way to freedom that you have shown me. Save all you can, daughter. And Harriet heeds God's call. Goes south again and again. Keeps her bands of runaways moving. Come storms and rough country. Clear to Canada. And when free souls sing her praises, she gives glory where it's due. It wasn't me, it was the Lord. I always trust him to lead me, and he always does. Well done, Moses. Well done. I think two things that shine through in that story are Harriet's incredible bravery, but also her incredible faith in God. It's so clear that that's what guided her. I wonder if you'd like to spend some time now in your classes reflecting on that bravery, reflecting on that faith, and maybe reflecting on the life that Harriet had. Thanks for listening, everybody.